week. I see.
Understand?
So the 4 months, is that something you accept by faith, so to say, that the union between body and soul would be at 4 months?
Yeah, because not by just faith, by sound reasoning. Because I can establish with a clear-cut proof, logical, rational, tangible proofs that Prophet Muhammad is a true prophet, and I know the Creator will not choose a liar to convey his message. Then I know the message came from the Creator of everything. Then logically I believe in it. It's from the unseen. I cannot see it.
Well, that's what I mean by faith.
That's what I'm saying. That is faith, because there's two types of faith. There is a faith which is based upon which is a blind faith. There's no proofs. You just believe in it. But Islam faith is based upon proofs and evidences.
I think I think we agree in the sense that the word faith is a bit misleading, so to
That's
say.
right.
But in the way that I perceive it, faith is, in a sense, a synonym for trust, right?
What you're saying, faith is synonymous to trust.
I would say, in the sense that I have faith in my wife that she's not going to cheat on me.
That's different context.
But I have evidence for that faith.
Yeah.
She's been, faithful to me for years and so on. So would you say that the concept of faith would be quite similar to?
No. Faith, Islamically speaking, no. Exactly. Faith in Arabic called iman. Yeah, which is tasdiq. Tasdiq means that you believe.
Right.
You believe has to be based upon knowledge and certainty. When I say I believe, mean I know with certainty that Allah is the truth and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah and Islam is the truth.
Okay.
That's
so
what I mean faith in Islam.
Like a grounding.
That's it.
But then we agreed that there are some supra-rational things that we would just have to accept. They are not irrational, but they're supra-rational, right?
I don't disagree with that. What do you mean by super-rational? Because I have to, this terminology, I have to, because as a Muslim, I don't just accept any terminologies. I have to understand what they define it in all. Because why? I'm a Muslim, my criteria is the Quran and the prophetic tradition.
Yeah.
So if it goes in line with the Quran and prophetic tradition, I will accept it. If it's not, what do you mean by supernatural?
Super-rational.
Super-rational, sorry. What do you mean by super-rational?
I mean something that, the nature of God, right?
Yeah.
I cannot know the nature of God.
That's
I can
right.
only know what God has revealed to myself.
That's right.
To me, right?
That's right.
Sorry, English is not my first language, but...
likewise, it's my third language.
So God is supra-rational. I cannot know Him without Him revealing Himself to me.
Yes, we cannot. I mean. Yeah, okay, if you mean that we cannot grasp and comprehend God in reality, how He looks.
In His entirety.
I agree with that. But we understand things like He's all-knowing, the most merciful. No doubt. But I want to ask you something.
Revelation, with
no doubt. But even by, I don't need the revelation.
Even by reasoning, I agree.
Yeah. But I want to ask you also, about take you back to, as a Christian, you believe Jesus to be God?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
You and I and all of us here, I believe, we believe God is perfect.
Yes.
Okay, He has no beginning, no end.
Yes.
He has a perfect knowledge. Yes? He knows everything.
Yeah.
طيب mean, okay? طيب Arabic term, yeah? So we say, for example, in the Quran, Allah said to Prophet Muhammad, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ O Muhammad, they ask about Day of Judgment. Say, no one knows except Allah. Yeah? If Jesus is God, by default, all of us, we say God knows everything all the time. Does Jesus know everything all the time? If He's God?
No.
Does God know everything all the time?
But I have to explain why.
Before that, does God know everything all the time?
He does, yes.
Is Jesus God?
I have to explain what I mean by Jesus is God first.
Okay, explain.
Okay.
Well, she's Christian?
No, a little bit like.
She was.
Just listen.
Yeah, listen. Because I'm with the Christian. That's you're more than welcome, sister.
So the view is Jesus is a human being who is hypostatically united to the Word of God. Okay? That's what I mean when I say Jesus is God. And as such, Jesus has two natures. He has a divine nature and a human nature.
What do you mean by divine nature? God.
Yes.
Okay.
And a human nature.
But when you say
the two natures are united in one person.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
So
let me just
sorry.
And so Jesus would, in his human nature, would experience everything that a human experiences. That includes, being happy, being with friends, having a nice conversation, and being sad, praying as well, and having limited knowledge. In his divine nature, he is the eternal Word of God. So that would be the summary.
Okay, divine nature means He's God, the creator of everything. He knows everything.
Yes.
He sees everything.
Yes.
His divine nature, is it the Father or other than the Father? His divine nature.
His divine nature is what we call the second person of the Trinity.
Is that the Father or other than the Father?
That is the second person of the Trinity. That is
the Son.
Let me say. So that is has the same essence, the divine essence. So now we're going to the Trinity, but
yeah, no problem.
There's the divine essence,
yeah.
right? And there are three persons, and the claim is that the three persons are of the divine essence, but they are different relationally.
I understand that. Like you have the same essence as him. You have human essence. He has human essence. He has human essence. You are three persons, but you share the same essence.
Well, not quite.
No, just an example I'm mentioning.
But this is an imperfect analogy because we instantiate the human nature, but we are different instantiations of the human nature.
No, I'm generally speaking. You are flesh, body, blood, spirit, flesh, body, spirit, flesh, body, spirit. Same essence. He's same essence, but three persons, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was your name? Sorry.
Baha.
Yeah. Silvio.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry, feel free to...
No problem. What we say to you now...
Sorry, what was your name again?
Shamsi, sorry, what's your name?
Silvio.
Nice
this
to
is
meet
my
you.
wife, Anka.
Nice to meet you, Anka. Yeah. What we say to you now, that's my question to you. Is Jesus the Father or other than the Father? Jesus. As a divine nature.
Jesus is different relationally from the Father, but shares the divine essence.
I understand that. So now when Jesus said only the Father knows the hour, that's not Jesus.
That is Jesus, who I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at the Bible, but the claim is that when he was incarnate, God chose to humble himself, stripping and not having access to the divine knowledge in his human nature.
That's contradiction what you said earlier, because you said he had divine nature and human nature, but you said he had to strip himself. If he stripped himself, he had no divine anymore.
No, he did. So the claim is that the human nature could have limited knowledge. Here's an analogy. Here's an analogy, but it's an analogy, right? We cannot contain God. Let me just finish this point.
No, sorry. Out of respect, don't you think that what you're explaining, that you can see your out of respect, yeah? You're literally struggling to explain something which is... No, you are. Because why? For example, now you said to me, he had Jesus, correct me if I'm wrong, he had human nature and a divine nature, but they were one, yeah?
They were hypostatically united.
Yeah, united,
They were not one.
But then before you told me, afterwards you told me God humbled himself by stripping away his nature, his divine nature.
No, he didn't strip away his nature. He chose not to access the divine knowledge, if that makes sense.
So he chose to, because it doesn't say that in the Bible.
The divine nature of Jesus chose not to access the divine knowledge.
So the
divine knowledge is in the cloud, if I could use this analogy, although it's an imperfect analogy, obviously, because we're talking about God, you know. But the divine knowledge is in the cloud, right? He chose, out of humility, not to access the divine knowledge, making himself equal to us in his human nature.
That's contradiction. You know why? Because it's like you telling me out of humility, I'm gonna tell you I don't know my name. That's not humility. That's not humbleness. This is nonsense. This is foolishness. If someone says out of humbleness, you're gonna ask me, Shamsi, what is your name? I say out of humbleness, I don't know my name. Or out of humbleness, I'm becoming weak, even though you have to understand.
You're claiming that.
One second, I have to break it down. So when you look to what you just said about Jesus and God nature and human nature, he chose not to exercise his God's nature. Yeah?
No, not that.
That's what he said. He chose not to exercise.
I said he chose not to access some of the divine knowledge.
What do you mean by access?
Divine knowledge.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Excuse me.
That's for goodness. What do you mean by that?
It was always available to him.
Yeah, but it's not out of him. It's part of him.
Yes, but remember,
what do you mean access?
We believe that there is that there are two natures, right, which are united. That's the claim, right?
Okay. Did Jesus say that he had two natures?
Jesus. So the Bible reports Jesus as divine, and also reports Jesus as
the whole Bible.
Not
the whole Bible. That John more likely. Even John, it's a contradiction. John in the Bible, John says, Jesus said the Father is greater than I.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
When Jesus went back to his Father,
Which I completely agree.
Yeah, when
because the divine nature is greater than the human nature. And
no, but you tell me Jesus had
the divine nature.
But when
I'm
Jesus,
really sorry, mate. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. But you said Jesus had two natures when he was on the earth. He has divine nature. So if him and the Father are the same, he cannot be greater than him. Because you said Jesus, when he was on the earth, he was God and he was divine and a human at the same time. So it's impossible for Jesus to say the Father is greater than I. What is possible? What is logical is for Jesus to say the Father is greater than my other nature, but as a divine nature, we are the same. Yeah. But Jesus said clearly, the Father is greater than I. And another passage said, I'm going to my Father and your Father. So my God and your God. If Jesus had human nature and divine nature, his divine nature, his God as well.
Okay.
But Jesus clearly always emphasized that the Father is God. The only true God is the Father. You see? So what you're doing, you have respect. You left the true teaching of Jesus. You are following the church fathers' explanation, which were heavily influenced by the Greek philosophy. You understand? Because all of these terms you're using about Jesus being human nature, divine nature, all of that, Jesus never spoke like this at all. You understand? Jesus came clearly, "O ye children of Israel, our God is one God." Also, brother, what I will tell you, the Old Testament, yeah? The Old Testament be teaching the whole time there is only one God, yes? And Him is singular, yeah? And have no one beside Him. Jeremiah, Daniel, Abraham, okay? All of them one God, one God. Yeah. And if anyone come to the Israelites, tell them, let us worship other than the God of Israel, you should stone him to death. Right. The Israelites, all their life, they know God is one, okay? He's not three, okay? Then, according to Christians, Jesus comes, according to you, they know there's three but in one. Then who comes after? Prophet Muhammad. No, there's only one God. Logically speaking, according to you, according to the Christian teaching, Jesus opposed the Old Testament. But who goes in line with that? Prophet Muhammad. Okay, does the Old Testament teach clearly, explicitly, there's Trinity? Clearly, explicitly?
No.
Okay. Does the Old Testament teach that God becomes, in the Old Testament says, Book of Numbers, page 1923, he says, God is not a man that should change his mind.
I agree.
God is not a son of man. In Hosea 9:10 or 9:11, it says, 9:11 it says, God is not a man. Okay? I the Lord, not a man.
Right.
So that's why, one of the Christian scholars said, who is a Unitarian, he said, to be honest, the Israelites, the Jewish people had proof from the Bible to the Old Testament to kill Jesus. Because all their life they've been taught in the Old Testament, God's not a man. Then Jesus claimed, according to you, he's God. Therefore, they have a proof, because according to the Old Testament, anyone that tells them to come worship God and the God other than the God of Israel, you should stone him to death. So what the Jews were doing, they were following the Old Testament to stone Jesus. You cannot blame them.
Okay. So let me comment on a few things, if that's okay.
Yeah, remember
there were a lot of things.
No, all of them are talking about from the Old Testament prove to you Jesus cannot be God. Likewise from the intellectual point of view.
Okay. I think thinking about it, based on our conversation, it seems to me that we come from different revelations, or what we claim to be revelations, obviously, right? Because in what I said, right, that there are three persons sharing the divine essence, and that Jesus has two natures, a divine nature and a human nature. There's no contradiction there.
There is.
I think we can agree on that.
No, there is.
I know you think there is.
Not even intellectually there is. If I say to you...
But what I'm saying is... Sorry, let me just finish the point.
All right, cool.
But what we're doing here really is at least an attempt, let's say, at theology, although it's probably philosophy theology. But you have to understand that we believe these claims. These are an attempt to explain what we believe was revealed. So it seems to me that the fundamental difference for us is what we believe is the revelation. Right?
Yeah, you think because I'm from Islamic perspective, that's what you think.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
So
I showed you the Bible.
Okay, but just a second. So I can tell you for a fact, right, and we can also go in that direction, that the Bible does claim Jesus to be God, but also claims human attributes of Jesus.
I'm not negating.
And so the explanation of two natures is a rational explanation for what is revealed. So revelation, I think we agree that revelation comes first, right?
Not all the time. Not all the time. Not all the time, because you have firstly, like you said,
we do agree on that in the sense that
there's something there's something called universal knowledge.
Yes.
You know, it's universal knowledge. Universal knowledge. You and I, regardless.
Sorry, please feel free to.
No. Regardless of who you are, what is your belief?
Yeah.
There are certain things we know. For example, if someone said to me, God is perfect all the time, but God is imperfect at the same time, I don't have to be a Christian or Muslim to know that doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Okay? So that's why one of the I think I dropped something. I keep thinking dropping. I don't know. Anyway, I think I dropped the handle.
Yeah.
But anyway, Islamically speaking, why we say Islam, that's why Islam is spreading around. You know why? Because Islam goes in line with our universal knowledge. And those universal tools, you want to use universal knowledge, universal tools, that been created by the Creator. Because it's illogical, impossible that every human being possess those universal tools, except by way of we are created with it.
I would say high five to that.
So,
we agree.
So,
in the sense that
so we're coming now to it.
Yeah.
From that, that it's illogical, impossible, it's nonsensical to tell me that God become a baby.
So no, the claim is not that. Well, actually, first let me say that I completely celebrate the fact that we agree on the previous point. So we would say that we are made in the image and likeness of God, and as a result, we have an innate sense of morality, for instance, right? So anybody from any culture, generally speaking, would say that torturing babies is wrong. Even if you have no land or law to dictate that, right?
So you say killing babies and children for something they haven't done is wrong?
For what, sorry?
If someone kill a baby for something he has not done, is that wrong?
Well, killing a baby is always wrong.
Killing a baby?
Yeah.
So remember that, because I'm going to show you something.
Okay, good.
Good. Remember that, but I don't want to digress, but I'll remind you with something.
So I was just saying that I celebrate the fact that we have this in common, and we would explain it in this way, that we were made in the image of God. As a result, our soul, we have a rational part of us which is made in the image of God. As a result, we have an innate sense of moralities. Therefore, we can know the difference between basic moral truths.
Okay.
So I'm very happy that we share
what we say to you, Jesus, before he became a baby, he was God.
His divine nature was always divine nature.
But he was not
before or after.
No. Okay. Was he all the time baby?
No. The claim is that